In the last 5 seconds before I left this world, I yanked my uncle over for a kiss. I whispered in his ear with a hint of regret, "I'll let you in on a secret, uncle. I actually like you too." With that, I closed my eyes and waited for my exit. It was pretty satisfying to mess with the creep one last time. After all, he was always getting in the way of my romance missions, and he was obsessed with me. But my uncle's voice went hoarse as he gripped the back of my neck. "System, close the transport channel." Then I heard the system in my head, its voice slick with mischief. "Yes, Master God." I was standing in front of the huge bathroom mirror, scrubbing my pale skin red and smiling to myself with my head down. The steam was thick. Warm water hit my chin and collarbone, then slid down my abs and disappeared below my waist. Behind the mirror, a pair of eyes darkened. My uncle was a creep. And right now, as expected, he was on the other side of that one-way mirror watching me. Maybe not just watching. He was probably doing something much more depraved. "Host, are you doing this on purpose?" "Yep," I said, running a hand through my wet hair. I leaned in close to the mirror, my breath fogging the glass. "Oh my God, he's kissing the glass on the other side." The system shrieked in my head. Heh. I chuckled and, with my free hand, dialed his number. "Uncle, could you bring me a towel?" "Okay." His voice was deep and raspy, making my ears tingle. The system was in awe of my nerve. "You're still provoking him? Aren't you afraid he'll come for your ass?" My gaze sharpened for a second, then I laughed softly. "He won't. My uncle is the epitome of a gentleman. I'd thrown myself at him once when I was drunk, and he hadn't even flinched." The door opened. I glanced at a certain bulge in his perfectly pressed suit and smirked inwardly at the system. Let him suffer. The system, clearly terrified of him, retreated deep into my mind, silently lighting a candle for me. I was transmigrated into a novel as the villainous side character. In the story, I fall for the male lead at first sight, fawning all over him and acting as his loyal lapdog. In the end, out of jealousy for the main love interest, I try to run him over with a car but get killed myself in the process. This kind of plot should have been a piece of cake. But it's been 5 years, and the progress bar hasn't budged. All because of my wonderful uncle. He always interferes right when I'm about to make a move on the male lead. Now, the lead is too scared to even ask me for favors. How am I supposed to advance the plot? After my uncle left, the system reemerged as a little ball of light. "Host, if you keep seducing him like this, aren't you worried he'll snap one day and, He won't." I lay back on my huge bed, eating the strawberries he'd brought me. My grandpa did him a huge favor once. I could be lying naked next to him and he wouldn't touch me. I sighed to myself. Such a shame with that face and that body. The system went quiet. It never told me that, late at night, my uncle would creep in while I slept and kiss me like a man starved. The next morning, I was woken up by my phone. While washing up, I rubbed a red mark on my neck and asked the system, puzzled, "Is this an allergic reaction or a mosquito bite?" The system, forced to cover its eyes again, trembled and said nothing. I scratched it absently just as my phone buzzed. A message from the male lead popped up. "Leo, where are you? Come pick me up. Showtime." I quickly changed into a flashy outfit, spritzed on some cologne, and replied with a sweet voice message. "Okay, Dylan, I'm on my way. Adrian's hungry. Pick up an order of wonton soup and bring it over." I checked the time. 2 a.m. Those two really knew how to live it up. My job as the villain is to move the plot forward, raise the romantic tension between the two leads, and constantly act reckless. I'm supposed to cling to the male lead, serving as the polar opposite of the cool and aloof main love interest. Get takeout? In his dreams. I went straight to the kitchen, grabbed a bag of wonton soup that had been frozen in the fridge for a month, and boiled it until it was mush. Then I poured in a ton of chili oil. "Adrian can't handle spicy food. Are you trying to kill him?" the system asked. Even if I bought fresh soup, he wouldn't eat it. Dylan is just using me to piss him off. In the original story, I'm at his beck and call. Adrian is supposed to get angry, throw the soup on the floor, and storm out. Dylan is the male lead, Adrian is the main love interest, and I'm the poor sap who has to cater to both of them. As long as I do my job right, you have to keep your promise to me. My memories are fragmented. The system told me it would help me recover them if I completed this mission. The system stammered, yeah, good enough for me. I turned around and found Julian standing right behind me. He was wearing a bathrobe, his cold eyes fixed on my neck. Where are you going this late? A chill ran down my spine. The system zipped away and hid in a corner. He's just the villain of this world. What a coward. I have something to do. It's none of your business. The original character was never polite to his uncle. Since he was always blocking my missions, I couldn't be bothered to be nice to him either. I walked past him holding the container of soup. Naturally, I didn't see the little ball of light that was the system kneeling before him, bowing repeatedly. Master God, please calm down. If he doesn't complete the mission, this world will cease to function. Leo's soul will really dissipate. I pushed open the door to the private room and saw Dylan sitting at the head of the table. The others all looked at me like they were watching a play, sneaking glances at Adrian. I slammed the wonton soup on the table and sidled up to Dylan. Hey, are you okay? You didn't drink too much, did you? Are you feeling sick? Dylan ignored me, pushing the soup in front of Adrian. Adrian opened it and froze, staring at the mushy mess floating in a layer of chili oil. What is this? Dylan asked with a frown. I immediately turned on the waterworks, my voice full of hurt. All the takeout places were closed. I was worried Adrian was in a hurry, so I made him a bowl myself. I didn't expect it to get so shaken up on the way here. You made this? Adrian asked. Dylan shot him a smug look. I nodded obediently. He picked up his chopsticks and eagerly started eating. The spice made him cough violently, and the tips of his ears and eyes turned red. Wait, why did he eat it? Wasn't he supposed to get jealous of me, the pathetic side character, storm off in a huff, and then have Dylan chase after him to apologize? Dylan was also stunned for a moment. Then he snatched the bowl and slammed it on the table, splashing broth everywhere. Stop eating that. Adrian couldn't stop coughing, the cool, handsome man now looking flushed and alive. He was so beautiful that I couldn't help but hand him a glass of water. He suddenly grabbed my hand, bringing the glass to his lips while still holding on to me. Dylan stood up, frustrated, and spat out, Adrian, think carefully about what I said. Then he left. As the male lead, Dylan was incredibly arrogant. He believed the world revolved around him. He thought he had his little lapdog, me, completely under his thumb, to be summoned and dismissed at will. As for his dream guy, he figured a single wave of his hand would be enough to get him. Looking at the red rose petals scattered all over the floor, it was clear Dylan had confessed to Adrian, but Adrian had turned him down. Annoyed, Dylan decided to call over his simp, Leo, to make Adrian jealous and force him to give in. At the same time, he worried Adrian might be hungry, so he had me bring soup. According to the script, Adrian was supposed to get jealous, knock over the soup, and leave in a rage. Then Dylan would start his desperate groveling arc. But Adrian decided to defy Dylan, which ended up making Dylan leave instead. Adrian's fair skin was flushed from coughing, but his voice was icy. Everyone else, get out. The spectators cleared out in an instant. His grip on my hand was painfully tight. I tried to pull away, and he slowly turned his gaze to me. The moment his eyes landed on my neck, his expression turned grim. I went into full acting mode. I love Dylan. I won't give him up to you. So what if he confessed to you today? He still can't live without me. I suggest you stay away from him. Otherwise, I don't know what I might do. I improvised wildly, but he pushed me down, pinning my wrist with one hand and clamping my chin with the other. His eyes were fierce, his voice chilling. You love Dylan? He was with me all day. So who left that fresh hickey on your neck? Leo, are you that desperate for a man? What the hell? A hickey? Ugh. Adrian squeezed my neck hard. The pain made my whole body tense up. I grabbed his hand. You're hurting me. I was sweating from the pain. How was this guy so strong? The door was kicked open with a bang. Adrian was thrown off me, and I gasped for air, meeting Julian's deep, dark eyes. My heart skipped a beat. "Leo, get up." Adrian shot him a cold look, then glanced at me as if wanting to say something, before storming out and slamming the door. I sat up, straightening my wrinkled clothes. When my collar brushed against my neck, I hissed in pain. Julian's expression flickered with panic for an instant. He lifted my chin. Let me see. Where the hickey had been, there was now a dark, purplish bruise from being squeezed. A cold fury radiated off of Julian. In my mind, the system started trembling again. I don't know how I got home. I must have been exhausted because I fell asleep right in Julian's arms. When I woke up, it was already past 10. Besides my sore neck, my lips hurt too. As I was washing up, I leaned into the mirror to look at my mouth. It was not only swollen, but there was a small cut on it. My already red lips were now even redder. Doing missions in the middle of the night is clearly bad for you. I must be stressed out. Mulling this over, I took a shower, completely forgetting that the mirror was one way. As I scrubbed my back, I naturally couldn't see that from my neck all the way down to my thighs. My skin was covered in hickeys. Adrian is a total psycho. Not only did he choke me, but he's blind too. What hickey? It was obviously a mosquito bite. He and Dylan need to get together already. Speaking of them, their relationship should be heating up now. Dylan likes Adrian but can't bring himself to cut ties with Leo. He wants to be with Adrian while still stringing Leo along. After a long groveling period, it all culminates when Leo goes crazy and tries to run Adrian over. In that moment, Dylan realizes his true feelings. Leo dies in the car crash, and the two of them get their happy ending. After getting dressed, I saw a gold-embossed invitation on the table. It was for Adrian's birthday party. This was a major scene in Dylan's pursuit of him, and of course the villain, had to be there. I stealthily grabbed the invitation and slipped out. Adrian came from new money, and with the support of Dylan, a big shot in the city, his birthday party was a huge affair. As soon as I walked in, I saw the two of them standing together, one in black, the other in white. They looked perfect for each other. "Are congratulations in order for Mr. Ford and Mr. Hayes soon?" someone asked. In this world, same-sex marriage was legal, so such unions were common. I walked over and stood right next to Dylan. Dylan tensed and frowned at me. "What are you doing here?" Adrian's eyes reddened, and he clenched his fists. Dylan pulled me aside. "You should go. Adrian won't be happy to see you." I quickly grabbed Dylan's hand. "Dylan, I've missed you so much. Please let me stay. I promise I won't do anything. I just want to watch you from afar." My expression must have been pathetic enough because Dylan let it go. "Won't do anything?" Yeah, right. I was here to drug Dylan. In the original script, I hand Dylan a drug drink, help him to a private room, and then pretend to be drunk myself so I can sneak in after him. Except, as the villain, I don't succeed. Adrian feels sick from the wine, and Dylan, despite being drunk, goes to take care of him. The two of them end up sleeping together. I got the necessary item from the system, secretly drugged a glass of wine, and was about to bring it to Dylan when Adrian walked straight into me. I held the glass high, terrified it would spill. I stumbled, and my white suit was instantly stained with wine. Adrian quickly wrapped an arm around my waist.
"I'm sorry, Leo."
"Come with me and change." "Wait, I need to give this to Dylan." Adrian's eyes darkened. He beckoned to a waiter carrying a tray. "Give it to him." "Okay," I said, instructing him. "Make sure you give it to Dylan." Seeing the waiter hand the glass to Dylan, I relaxed and followed Adrian. I sat on a sofa, tugging at my collar. He said he was getting me clothes, so what was taking so long? And why was it so hot in here? My head started to spin. "Host, what's wrong with you?" The little ball of light zipped back and forth in front of my eyes, making me dizzier. I grabbed it. "I don't know. Am I drunk?" "You've been drugged. It's over. I'm going to die," the system wailed. "Drugged? I only had one drink. Was that the one?" I was getting dizzier, and my breathing grew shallow and hot. I panted, feeling an itch all over my body. Even the soft fabric of the sofa felt intensely stimulating against my skin. Moans started to escape my lips. I gripped the sofa, my knuckles turning white as my body trembled. The door suddenly opened. Adrian walked towards me. In my blurred vision, his red lips curved into a chilling smile. I felt a flicker of fear. "Don't come near me." But the words came out as a soft whimper. He ignored me and pushed me down onto the sofa. He gripped my neck, and I started to struggle violently. As we wrestled, the scattered red marks on the back of my neck were exposed. Adrian's eyes instantly turned bloodshot. "Who did this? Was it Julian? What did you two do last night?" I had no idea what he was talking about. I just felt hot, like someone had thrown a fireball into my head, burning away all my reason. My struggles were pathetically weak, and a layer of hot sweat covered my body. With a rip, I felt a coolness on my shoulder. The torn fabric lay against my neck. I summoned all my strength and threw a punch at Adrian. "Adrian, get off me. Leo, Dylan can have you, Julian can have you, so why can't I?" Adrian screamed, seemingly having lost his mind. He didn't stop roughly groping me. When he realized how aroused I was, he started pulling at my pants. The door was kicked open. A blast of cold air rushed in, clearing my head slightly. I heard Dylan's angry and desperate shout, "Adrian, what are you doing?" The weight on me lifted. Trembling, I tearfully tried to pull my clothes together, but the more I fumbled, the more I exposed. On my pale skin were dark bruises from being manhandled. Dylan was furious. He stared at Adrian, his eyes practically shooting fire. "Adrian, what did you do?" Adrian laughed maniacally, his red lips looking even more demonic. I drugged him, of course. Dylan froze, then punched Adrian square in the face. "Why would you do that? Tell me." Adrian took the punch without flinching. He wiped the blood from his lip and spat, his eyes full of venom as he glared at Dylan. "Why? Because I like him, of course." "Dylan, you don't deserve him. If you don't like him, then give him to me," Adrian shouted, then lunged forward and threw a punch at Dylan. I shook my head. Through my blurry vision, I saw the two of them fighting, trading punch after punch. Dylan and Adrian were going at it like mortal enemies. Who would have thought people were calling them a perfect match just moments ago? "Host, hang in there. You can't pass out here." The system screamed frantically in my head, then started sobbing. "Why did both of these psychos fall for you?" I was so miserable I was about to cry. How should I know? Isn't this the system's fault? I tried to sit up but fell back down weakly. A fine sheen of sweat covered my forehead, and my heart was pounding like a drum against my ears. A figure swayed towards me. Dylan knelt in front of me, draping his blood-stained jacket over my body, his voice choked with emotion.
"I'm sorry, Leo."
"It's all my fault for not realizing my own feelings. I let you get hurt. You're in a lot of pain, aren't you? Let me help you, okay?" He started to lift me. I curled into a ball, gathering my strength to kick him, but I only heard a loud thud. Dylan was thrown heavily to the ground. Julian stood over me, his face a dark mask, radiating a chilling aura. He tossed Dylan's jacket aside and wrapped me in his own trench coat, lifting me into his arms. I rubbed my cheek against his neck. He felt so cool, so comforting. My hot lips pressed against his jaw, my every breath like a spark, threatening to set Julian ablaze. I woke from a nightmare, drenched in sweat and my heart pounding, but the details of the dream were a blurry, illogical mess. My whole body was sore, even my head ached. System, did Dylan drink that wine last night? He did. So did they sleep together? They did. In my hazy memory, Dylan and Adrian were rolling around on the floor, going at it with intense, violent movements. Damn, those two really don't care who's watching. And I was passed out on the sofa the whole time. No wonder the original character went nuts and tried to run Adrian over. Seeing them go at it right in front of him, any villain would snap. Yep, you're right, the system quickly agreed. But why do I feel like Julian was there too? The system glanced at the hickeys covering my neck. And no, you must have been mistaken. Probably. I was pretty drunk. My phone rang. It was Dylan. "Are you okay?" Checking up on me after the fact. No wonder the original me went crazy. I put on a hurt voice. Dylan, you don't like Adrian, do you? No, I don't. I realize now that the one I love is you. Okay, Dylan. Wait for me. I hung up. I exchanged a look with the system. The final act was here. After this, my part in this story would be over. I wanted to get up and go ram my car into Adrian right then, but I was completely drained of energy. I silently cursed the cheap wine from last night. Julian came in with a tray of food. The system zipped away and vanished again. I frowned at him. The more I looked at him, the more I felt like I had dreamed about him last night. Julian had an ethereal, detached coldness to him, as if he didn't belong to this world. His eyes were as calm and deep as an abyss, and his lips were an unnaturally vivid red. He looked less like a person and more like a beautiful demon. He took a spoonful of soup, blew on it to cool it, and brought it to my lips. I commented to the system in my head, what a feast for the eyes. If only he was the one I was supposed to be seducing. The system cowered in a corner, curled into a tiny ball. I mocked it. You coward. I didn't get what was so scary about a villain. After Leo died, Julian did torture the two leads to the brink of insanity to avenge him. But they quickly recovered, turned the tables on Julian, and went on to their happy ending. As I was standing in front of the mirror carefully putting on a necklace, a mocking text came in from one of Adrian's simps. The necklace was a gift from Julian, a green jeweled pendant. I loved it. Even if you drug yourself, Dylan won't give you a second look. Let me tell you something. Adrian and Dylan are at Ford Corp right now discussing their engagement. You should just give up. I snorted, put on my most expensive watch and sent a voice message back. What? Did Adrian save your pathetic life or something? They're not getting engaged. I hung up, seething with fake rage, and headed for the underground garage. A few minutes later, a car shot out of the family estate. The feeling of speeding made my adrenaline surge and my scalp tingle. I reminded the system, get those pain blockers ready. Adrian and Dylan were standing outside the Ford Corp building, a noticeable distance between them. They didn't exactly look like a couple who had just been planning their engagement. I floored it, heading straight for Adrian. Dylan screamed. Through the car window, I could vaguely hear him yelling not to be impulsive. My phone was ringing off the hook. I clenched my teeth and pushed the accelerator to the floor. System. Suddenly, Dylan ran towards Adrian and shoved him out of the way. Afraid of hitting Dylan, I wrenched the wheel. There was a deafening screech of tires. The world spun. The seatbelt cut into me, making it hard to breathe. The windshield shattered before my eyes as the car rolled violently. I gripped the steering wheel as the car flipped over several times before landing sideways in the middle of the road, smoke already pouring from it. I slumped over the steering wheel, blood dripping from my forehead. The front of the car was completely crushed. The airbag and the mangled seat pinned me in place. I couldn't move. My body felt like it had been torn apart. There was no pain, but even breathing was an effort. Life was draining away fast. The system sent a success report in my head. Dylan and Adrian ran over like madmen, banging on the windows trying to open the door. But the car was too badly damaged no matter how hard they tried. It was useless. I struggled to turn my head. For some reason, they were both crying, their mouths open, shouting something. I think it was, "Don't die." I'd lost too much blood. My hearing was fading. In the smoke-filled car, there was a sudden whoosh as flames erupted. Thick black smoke billowed from the engine. Dylan and Adrian's eyes were wide with terror as they slammed against the door. The door was getting hotter and hotter, too hot to touch. Julian got out of his car and ran over. He kicked Dylan and Adrian away, one for each, and grabbed the door handle. Inside, Leo was about to be engulfed in flames. His eyes were closed, blood running from his forehead down his neck and into his collar. His face was deathly pale. A sharp pain shot through Julian's heart. He tightened his grip on the handle, his cool composure shattered by desperation. "Leo! Wake up!" I forced my eyes open. Inches away were Julian's bloodshot eyes. I think I forgot to say goodbye to him. Julian slammed his fist against the car door, again and again, each blow harder than the last. Finally, he ripped the door open. In that instant, the scorching heat inside the car seemed to recede. He reached for me, his voice incredibly gentle. "Leo, don't be afraid." His hand was red and covered in tiny blisters. The door had been searing hot, and his hand was completely burned. I felt like the world had gone silent. Host mission completion. 100%. Initiating transport channel. Countdown to activation. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't know what came over me, but in the last 5 seconds before I left, I grabbed Julian's collar with my bloody hand, pulled myself up, and kissed him on the lips. The taste of blood filled my mouth. I leaned into his ear, my voice both wicked and regretful. "I'll let you in on a secret, uncle. I actually like you too." With that, I closed my eyes, waiting to leave. Felt good to mess with the creep one last time. After all, he was always getting in the way of my romance missions, and he was obsessed with me. Julian's expression changed. His voice went hoarse as he gripped the back of my neck and deepened the kiss. Then he said, "System, close the transport channel." And I heard the system in my head say cheekily, "Yes, Master God." My soul, which had begun to feel weightless, suddenly slammed back into my body. Julian was holding me, and I could hear the cracking sounds of my bones mending themselves. I stared at him in shock. He looked down at me and smiled, a smile that was both possessive and insane. "Leo, I'm so glad you didn't fall for anyone else. Otherwise, I don't know what I would have done." Dylan and Adrian, covered in grime, rushed over to us, their voices choked with tears. "Leo, are you okay? Quick, let's get him to my family's hospital." Julian shot them a cold glance. An overwhelming pressure washed over them, and Dylan and Adrian fell to their knees. Adrian grabbed Julian's pant leg, his heart aching so much his voice trembled. "Where are you taking him? He needs to go to a hospital." Julian kicked him again. Through my blurry vision, I saw Adrian spit out a mouthful of blood. When I opened my eyes again, I was waking up in my own villa, with Julian sitting by my bed. The little ball of light hovered in front of my face. I slowly sat up, stunned speechless by what I saw. Julian's room was filled with portraits of me. Portraits in every kind of outfit imaginable, with one common theme: I wasn't wearing any clothes. There were even explicit ones, where the other person in the painting was Julian himself. The largest one, hanging directly across from the bed, was an erotic mural. The background was pitch black, blood flowed like rivers, and we were making love in hell. Julian wasn't pretending anymore. The moment I was conscious, he lifted my chin and kissed me. During my recovery at the villa, the thing I regretted most was what I'd said that day. Here, I wasn't allowed to use my phone. I wasn't even allowed to wear pants. I tried to reason with him. "I want to go out." Julian, using his uninjured hand to feed me strawberries, immediately scowled. "Are you going to see Dylan? Do you like him?" "Leo, this was just a mission. Don't get attached." The little ball of light, holding the strawberry platter, quickly chimed in obsequiously, "He doesn't like Dylan. His affection level is 0. Rest assured, Master God, the one he likes is you. I'm right here. Why would you need to go out?" Julian asked, looking at me with genuine confusion. After being this close to him, I realized Julian wasn't normal. He didn't work, didn't use a phone, had nothing to do. The only thing he did every day was watch me and feed me. It was suffocating. I didn't know how to act. No one could last in an environment like that. When the housekeeper came to deliver a meal, I made an excuse to send Julian away and broke down in front of her. I put on such a convincing performance that she truly believed I was being held captive by Julian. As a long-time employee of the family, she secretly slipped me a phone. Late that night, after Julian was asleep, I secretly sent a text to Dylan asking for help. The next morning, there was a knock on the villa door. Dylan had brought the police. As Julian was being led away, his gaze was chilling. I hid behind Dylan, not daring to look at him. Once Julian was in the police car, Dylan grabbed me, looking me over frantically. "I knew that bastard was up to no good," he said, full of hatred. Then he pulled me into a hug. "Leo, I'm so glad you're okay. I realized I don't like Adrian. I love you, Leo." Let's get married. I was shocked. I gently pushed him away, my voice weak. Dylan, so much has happened recently. I can't think straight. Can we just wait a little? Okay, but you have to tell me when you've figured it out. I'll wait for you forever. But before I could even find a place to rest, I was knocked unconscious from behind. When I came to, my hands and feet were tied, and my head was splitting. I could faintly hear Adrian's voice. I told you to bring him here, not knock him out. If he's seriously hurt, I'll skin you alive. I slowly opened my eyes and saw Dylan lying next to me, his face covered in blood. When Adrian saw I was awake, his eyes lit up with excitement. Leo, you're mine now. No one can save you. I didn't need saving. I expertly untied the ropes on my hands and kicked away the person running towards me. Right now, all I wanted was to get back as fast as possible, tie myself up, and present myself to Julian, praying he wouldn't be angry. Though not being angry was probably impossible. This time, I probably couldn't appease him even if my back broke. Julian and I met in a bizarre rules-based death game. To survive, I was exceptionally attentive to him, my powerful teammate, serving his every need and even offering my body. Although Julian was incredibly cold, he was generous to his own people. He saved me from countless deadly situations, and through my own efforts, I discovered the hidden rule of the final game. Only one person could survive. And so, after a night of passionate lovemaking with Julian, I walked willingly to my death the next day. To die in a death game meant your very soul would be corrupted. Julian went insane trying to save me. In the final second before my soul dissipated, I learned that he was the master of the infinite flow. My death had been meaningless, and Julian paid the price for my self-important sacrifice. After dying in the infinite flow, a soul is randomly scattered across various small worlds, becoming an NPC within them. He traveled from world to world, collecting the fragments of my soul. The others all said he had fallen in love with a bug. When Julian broke down the door, I was punching Adrian repeatedly in the face. I turned to see him and grinned. Honey, I was wrong. He froze for a moment, his eyes red as he stared at me. He walked over, his voice a low growl. Leo, you'd better really mean that. That night, Julian wouldn't let me go no matter what. As he moved inside me, he listed my past sins. In the first world, you fell for that young general. In the second, you fell for your master. In the third, you said you liked the Alpha CEO's abs. And in the fourth, you wanted to spend the rest of your life with that pretty boy. I didn't. I quickly defended myself. I didn't like them, I only like you. Julian looked down at me intently. As the world rocked around me, I felt something wet fall on my chest, and then I heard Julian's voice. Leo, you don't remember me in any of the worlds. I'm so scared. I couldn't help but want to curse him out, even in the middle of all this. Did he think I'd forgotten everything? In which lifetime did he ever let me go? Didn't every world end with me being unable to get out of bed for days? In the first world, I didn't even know him before he kidnapped me. The second, third, fourth, he was my senior, my adoptive father, my best friend. Did he have any idea how terrifying it was for me when he suddenly changed his appearance? Whatever. It was my fault for getting involved with him in the first place. My husband is the master of the infinite flow. Killing someone is as easy for him as squashing a bug. The fact that he managed to restrain himself from killing all those guys was already impressive enough. Leo, what are you thinking about? How can you have the energy to be distracted right now? It seems I'm not being forceful enough. Julian's extra. I don't know where I came from. From my earliest memory, I was traveling through games, carrying out my games of slaughter. It was boring, tedious. My colleague said that to observe and toy with the bugs up close, he had entered a game himself and become an object of their affection. That sounded a little interesting. When the rules-based game started, I became a contestant. That was the first time I saw Leo. He stood out in the crowd, excessively beautiful. A pretty and clever bug could indeed catch my attention. Later, he began to intentionally get close to me, to please me, even to seduce me. To be honest, the games we played in bed were rather fun. He was even more beautiful when he cried. I didn't want him to die, but even I had to follow the rules of the game. In the final round, only one person could live. I planned to die and then reveal my identity to him. I never expected that he, who had always cherished his life so much, would choose to die. It threw me into a panic. I caught the ghost that was devouring him. It was originally a ball of light. It told me that the dead were all sent to the small worlds of transmigration novels to become NPCs. I took it hostage and made it the medium to find Leo. Finally, I found him,